Okay, I will start.
Namaskaram to all of you.
Namaskaram.
Attending. Namaskaram. Yes. Question or?
You have to introduce yourself.
Some introduction is there, no? Yeah.
I will
Yes,
introduce myself. I am Natyacharya VP Dhananjayan.
I'm Shanta Dhananjayan, his wife.
And lately known as Bodak phone couple.
Start.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Namaskaram. I'm very proud to invite and to be with Pudhiya Veetil Dhananjayan and Shanta Dhananjayan are also known as Dhananjayans, are the dancing couple of India, or the Natya couple of India, as you said.
Bharat, not India.
But Bharat, okay, sir. It will take some time for us to sync all that in us.
Coming.
VP Dhananjayan was born into a Malayali family of Puduwal family on 17th April 1939 in Pioneer, Kannur district, Kerala.
Yes. 39. Yes.
He joined Kalakshetra on 5th October 1953 and was a leading male dancer under Rukmani Devi, founder of Kalakshetra from 1955 to 1967. He graduated from Kalakshetra with a postgraduate diploma in dance, Bharatanatyam and Kathakali with distinction, and also holds a BA Economics and Politics. Anubhav was born on 12th August 1943 into a Malayali Nair family in Malaysia and traces her ancestry back to Kerala, from where she migrated to Malaysia. She joined Kalakshetra in June 1952, a year before Dhananjayan, where she later graduated with postgraduate diploma with distinction in Bharatanatyam and also learned Kathakali and Carnatic music. She was a leading female dancer at Kalakshetra from 1955 to 1968.
70.
They married in 1966 at the Guruvayur temple in Kerala. Guruvayur temple.
Yeah, Krishna temple.
Yeah. Okay. They started their own dance school, Bharat Kalanjali, in 1968 in Adyar, Chennai. It began with a handful of students and is today a premier academy of dance and music with several hundreds of students. Some of the major awards and accolades conferred are Padma Bhushan, Sangeet Natak Academy Award, Kalaimani Award, and many more prestigious awards have been conferred to them. Natyacharya VP Dhananjayan. Sir and ma'am, we welcome you in this workshop session of SPIC MACAY Anubhav series. Now we'll be starting with our question answers round. I request Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. I request Vedanathan, sir, to start with the questions.
Before that, I must say VP Dhananjayan is a prolific writer and writes not only on dance but also on social and political issues. His publications include Beyond Performing Art and Culture.
And also a dancer on dance.
We didn't have that list. I read, so I would definitely take a list from you, sir. First question, sir. You were both students of Kalakshetra, the dance institution founded by Srimati Rukmani Devi Arundel. What made you select Bharatanatyam and why did you select Kalakshetra? What was your Kalakshetra experience? What sort of Guru Siksha Parampara tradition can you share with your journey with us, sir?
It's a long journey, about 2 decades of journey. You want to start yours?
You can say yours.
I can. Say, before answering the questions, I would always like to begin my delineation with the 2 important issues. One is, I always say our country is Bharat. We are all Bharatiya and we practice Bharatanatyam. Natyam. I always ask people to eschew the word dance, which has no specification. The Natya has a specific connotation. So please try. And when we use Natya, please don't get confused. It is Bharatanatyam. We are practicing Bharatanatyam, which includes all the natyas of Bharatadesham. Okay, that is one issue. The second issue is, of course, to say, now I think I covered both. So, okay, I was not at all exposed to any kind of classical natyam while I was child in the Payyanur vicinity, a very remote grama village in Kerala. And I used to attend Kathakali shows, very secretively. We were not able to, as children, our parents wouldn't let us go alone and all that. But I used to sneak away from my home, especially with my grandmother. I was under my grandmother, and used to see Teyyam and Kathakali, and that was the only exposure I had. I never heard of Bharatanatyam at that time. So the Providence have it. K. Balagopal, who is no more now, he was selected to go to Kalakshetra. Then my father asked Chandupanikar, Guru Chandupanikar Asan, a very, very great Kathakali artist, why not take one of my 4 boys? So he came home and selected me. I don't know why he selected me at that time. Probably I'm in the middle, 13 plus, for the right age to start anything. So I was excited because I was also wanting to go out of that big family. And it's a very, very poor family, I should say. A elementary school teacher with 8 children at home, was struggling. But anyway, that is on past history. Then I had the luck of coming to Kalakshetra. Only after coming to Kalakshetra, I happened to know what is Bharatanatyam and what is the stories entirely different. She can say that.
Okay. Even as a little, those days, it was customary to send their kids to India, to Kerala, especially to learn, go to school and learn your own mother tongue and things. So I was also sent along to Palakkad district, and I was given some training because I showed a great interest in music and dance. So they thought, I should get some exposure. While I was just going for little classes, it was nothing very serious. Someone suggested that since I showed a lot of interest and involvement, said, why don't you send? I was 8 years old. Then someone said, that's foolish. She's only 8 years old, and how can you send her all the way to Shantiniketan? Then later on, someone suggested, one of my father's friends suggested, no, there is another institution called Kalakshetra in Chennai, in Madras those days, of course. Why don't you send her there? And
actually, Kalamandalam was also there, but I don't know why
I
they
don't know.
didn't send you to
Kalamandalam was not
Kalakshetra.
suggested at that time. So that's how I landed in Kalakshetra, and I was so lucky because I was just 8 plus 9. And as a kid, I just learned to live my life there. This is my life. So there you are.
I would like to ask, how is Kalakshetra style different from other styles? Like, why did it become so popular?
See, Kalakshetra was established in 1936. After Rukmini Devi's Arangetram in 1930, she was under the strict disciplinarian Guru Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai of Pandanallur. There are only 2 kinds of art, good and bad. So she thought there is some necessity to streamline the practice of those days of Sadiratam or Devadasiyatam and all that. So she was who was inspiration to Rukmini Devi to take up the classical Natyam of Tamil Nadu at that time. And she went and searched for good masters and finally found Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai. But still, she was not satisfied. She wants to correct certain things, movement, and she approached a lot of scholars, Sanskritam scholars, to find out about the authenticity, and that's how they discovered the Natya Shastra at that period. Because it was not spoken of at that period about Natya Shastra or Abhinaya Darpana or Bharatanava or Sangeeta. That period, it was very vague at that time. So the scholars came up with suggestions about Natya Shastra, and it is the Natya Karanas, Nritya Karanas, a lot of people like that. Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai suggested the first person to streamline the line. So he was, he tried to train Rukmini Devi, and then only Rukmini Devi realized there is a lot of improvement has to be done in those days in the Dasiyatam or the Sadir style. She wanted to make it very precise. And the Adavu systems at that time, it was not very systematically practiced. So she systematized all the system, the practical Adavu system, the Karana system. Nritta Pada Samayukto Nrittasya Karanam Bhavet. It's a combination of those days. The Karanas were static poses. Process that was found a movement. Yes, crystal, a movement still. So that way she did the based on the 10 mandalas, mandalam, asthanaka mandala, all these 10 mandalas, she created the Adavu, systematized the Adavu and practiced it. For that, Katamanar Kovil, Muthukumara Pillai helped, and that is how a style was established at that time, which later on started the people calling it Kalakshetra style. But Rukmini Devi always said it is not a style, it is Rukmini Devi's improvement. She started accusing her of using ballet steps because she learned ballet and she was influenced by ballet ballerina Anna Pavlova. They started accusing her of changing the Sadir style to ballet style. That was the accusation. But that died because this stood the test of time, and people started appreciating keeping the body very strict, disciplined way, and very what you call rekha. There is a technical word in the shastras called rekha, the lining, body lining. You can't keep like this. Those days, I can, if you see some of those dance at those time, the cinema dance and all that, you can see people who are holding Natyaramba like this, and the elbows down, and all the mudras were not properly held by some of the, even the greatest Devadasis, they were not holding it. And Rukmini Devi, again, she made it compulsory for everybody to practice mudras very precisely as the hastas mentioned in the Natya Shastra, as well as Abhinaya Darpana, which is the best book for Bharatanatyam mudras to follow. That is Pataka, Tripataka, Ardhapataka, all hold it very properly, not like this, not Alapadma is like holding like that, and all that. She streamlined it and make it very precise. So even today, that style, and it has now become very teaching method of translation became very prevalent, and everybody has accepted this. Many people may say it is not, but today, when you see our Bharatanatyam dancers, it is almost the same, except each individual adds some new perception to their own individuality. Swayam vitarkya kartavyam Natya Shastram Budhe. People have the freedom. Natya Shastra has given the freedom to evolve yourself. Every individual, Akritya, Cheshtaya, Chinnai, Jatya, Vijnaya, Vastutaha, Swayam Vitarkya Kartavyam. Each period, the Acharyas have added new dimension to the practice prevalent in those days. So, this period of 1930, 40, 50s, Kalakshetra has streamlined Kalakshetra has established a pure style and with a lot of innovative steps and a lot of new gestures and everything. And that has now stuck on the international scene, and everybody wants to practice that. And today, as I said, you see the best dancers like Dakshina and all that, they have the same. There is a good standard of Bharatanatyam prevalent in today's period. That is how the style was established. We don't need to call it a particular style, but the human mind, they always say Pandanallur style. We are supposed to be Pandanallur style, Kanchivaram style, or Ellapapula and Valur style and all that. This all has gone now. Even the Valur style supposed to be during the 40s and all that, very prevalent. That style, now all those people who are practicing, supposed to be practicing Valur style, has changed to the better style of Bharatanatyam. I can see that.
Put in their speciality.
Every style has its own beauty and some speciality is there. That is that has to be maintained. So that is how everything has.
It's like the gharana that we talk about in Hindustan, speciality, and it adds to the beauty of
each Natyacharya has contributed something to it.
Yeah.
Okay, in-depth details actually. How difficult, the next question, sir. How difficult or easy for you to have carved a niche in Bharatanatyam world as a couple in 60s? What moments and struggles you both faced in your journey? You both became the most popular Bharatanatyam dancing couple.
Well, without struggle, there is no life. I won't call it a style, but it's an evolutionary process of going up, stepping up on the staircase. Well, I am coming from a very, very poor, economically backward class from Kerala. I had to very no apprehensions whatsoever to tell that. My father had nothing. He left nothing for us. But when I came to Kalakshetra at the age of 14, and I was under Rukmini Devi's scholarship. Kalakshetra gave me a full scholarship, which I am blessed. So, with that help from Kalakshetra and Rukmini Devi and struggle, I won't call it a struggle, but we had a very good family atmosphere in Kalakshetra. Everybody liked each other. There was no disparity between.
Literally growing up.
Yes.
I mean, it's like a large family. Everybody's there. We'll have whatever happens within a family. This is a larger kind of a family. We grew up that way. So
learning in a Gurukulam is difficult. If you think it is difficult, it is good. Like Krishna and Sudama, they were all in Gurukulam. Even Krishna was in Gurukulam. When Sudama, a poor Brahmin, was also in the same Gurukulam. Like that, we were all the feast-paying students like Santa and non-paying students like me also. We all treated well, taught everything equal in Kalakshetra. So in Gurukulam, we had certain disciplines especially for male students like me and Balagopal and male students. Most of the male students came from very economically poor background, because only male students will be led those days for such kind of profession, because others at that time everybody wanted to be a doctor, engineer. They sell their ancestral property and go teach them, go make them go for a doctor or something else. Coming from a poor family, boy in Kalakshetra, and we had to take care of the needs of the older teachers. We have teachers above 60 at that time Kalakshetra. They were all rishis like teachers. Like for instance, Guru Asan Chandupanikar was almost 75, 80 at that time when he started teaching us Kathakali. It is such a dynamic person, such an inspiration for all of us to see, watch him at that. But we as children, we had to take care of their needs like a real Gurukulam. We used to get up at 4 o'clock and rush to his house and bring hot water for his bathing and do also all needs for him, wash his clothes, all that we did really. Sometimes it may be a story for many of the children. It may be story, but it is real. We have experience. 4 o'clock we do that, and he goes into Japam at 5 o'clock, and by then we go to the hostel and bring coffee to him. All that we did, and every time the afternoon for lunch, we had to bring the lunch for him and serve him, and only after that we go to the hostel. By then all the children would have finished hostel food, and then we'll be the last batch to eat, and all these things. And since we have the greatest of teachers like Karakudi Veena Sambasivayar in Kalakshetra, who was also nearing 80, Mysore Vastevacharya, the greatest composer, the music, and Budalur Krishnamurti Shastrigal of Gotuvadhyam, all those people, Papanas and Shivan, they were all there when we were listening to their music. And also, incidentally, we used to help. Me and Balagopal used to take Mysore Vastevacharya for walking in the evening. In spite of looking after our Asan Chandupanikar, we had to take care of those people also. So it was like they were all like grandfathers. And Mysore Vastevacharya used to tell us stories because we were doing his Sita Swayamvaram Ramayanam being produced in 1955 by Rukmini Devi, and he did the whole thing while walking. He was 93 at that time. So you can imagine that kind. So from 4 o'clock to 11 o'clock in the night, we have been continuously working in Gurukulam. In between, we have this regularized scheduled classes in Kalakshetra classrooms. In Kalakshetra, we had the advantage of having general education. We had the matriculation. Some people were doing matriculation. Some people are not. They just had English or mathematics, general education. But I opted to take matriculation very fastidiously. I wanted to pass matriculation, but none of my colleagues took for matriculation. I passed matriculation in a high second class, and then I opted to do my intermediate with the Madhya Pradesh, those days, Madhya Pradesh. Intermediate, and then later on I did my graduation in politics and economics with Delhi University. All correspondence. Apart from doing the entrance, the Kalakshetra class, these I took to learn these. They was listening to great stalwarts like C.P. Ramaswamy Iyer, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Rajgopalachari, Kamaraj, and all those people who used to come to Kalakshetra. They were talking. All that has gone into the plane, making us a true Bharatiya. That's why I always insist that we should see this name, Bharatam and Bharatiya. And happily, I want to tell you today, I saw a report in the Hindu that soon our country will be called Bharata, and no more India. The liberal India will be eschewed. I am very happy because I have been a promulgator or a fastidious mission. My mission was to change the name Bharat, India back to Bharat. So I am happy today, this morning. Anyway, that is, I have to instantly share this news to SPIC MACAY children who are attending. And every time, whenever I go abroad or anywhere, I start my lecture saying, my country is Bharat, I am Bharatiya, and we do Bharatanatyam. This is my slogan.
Thank you so much, sir and ma'am, for sharing this slogan with us. and I'm sure now we all will be indulged with the slogan, and this is something which I'm really happy to seek from you. And you have shared such an inspirational journey of yours. I feel that it's not a
What is the struggle we have? When you want to learn something, you have to struggle. That is not struggle.
want to ask that you both have created various dance productions and choreographies. So how do you work as
Natya,
Natya production, and how do you work as a team?
I talked a lot. You talk now.
Ma'am.
How do we work office? I don't know. Sometimes he'll come up with, let's do this, or I'll say, no, let's do this. But Sri Dhananjay, who really is the architect.
And you are the engineer.
I'm the engineer always, and along with him, trying to put things together. But mostly all these big productions we do together, especially when it comes to costume, makeup, and hairstyle, hairdo according to period. I take more interest, but I do consult my husband, and we have discussions and
See,
experience.
we have grown together in Kalakshetra. So we have the same kind of aesthetic values. We know each other, so we know where we stand. We understand each other's strength and weakness. So that is a big advantage that as being a couple, and to understanding each other perfectly, then there is no conflict. And give and take attitude. That in everybody's life, that should be there. Give and take. And in our case, Shanta has been giving a lot. Giving in the initial stage, and later only after gained some experience, then she started taking over, and I started giving in. So to all the children must understand this: when you are married, first give in. Either of them give in first, and then understand each other, and then you can lead a very happy, balanced, lovable family life. Unnata Makuva Kudumba Jeevitam Unnata Kalayan Adu Loge. One Kavi has said, I think it is Kavi poet Valathol Narayana Menon who started Kalamandalam, said, Unnata Makuva Kudumba Jeevitam Unnata Kalayan Adu Loge in Malayalam. Make your family life a greatest art form. Family caring is the greatest art form. So, in the family, mother, the woman is the Lord. She has to be has the upper hand to lead a good family life, and the spouse has to give in to the leader of the household. So this is just a moral for the children who are listening to our lectures. We are all growing children. So, Unnadamapko Kudumba Jeevitam. Family lives have to be very balanced and very happy, and equilibrium should be maintained between the family, father, mother, and all the others, the children also.
How wonderful, sir. How nicely you put. Honey is flowing into my ears for the words that you have. I think that's a wonderful experience. And a lot of us has to assimilate and should follow them in our life, sir. The next question is, what is started to perform? What are the challenges now? Is there a difference now? How do you tackle them? What will be your message for your young male dance students? Because there's a mindset, only females used to dance, not the males. So
Yeah, this is only for me.
So when in Kalakshetra, everything was fine, because male, female, they were equally treated, and we had a lot of opportunities to perform inside Kalakshetra. And those days when we were there, we were confined to Kalakshetra four walls, and occasionally we used to go out, and people used to come to Kalakshetra to see our program. Anyway, to break away from Kalakshetra and establish. It was a Herculean task, especially for me, for a man dancer. It was very, very difficult those days. While I was in Kalakshetra and I had a unfortunate situation that I had to leave Kalakshetra, I was approaching some people to have some exposure, some help. Whenever I wrote to people like in the Sangeet Academy or any other institutions in the country, I always had negative feeling, negative answers, saying that, oh, male dancers have no life outside. Please better remain in Kalakshetra. That is the first. But that I took it as a challenge. It was a challenge for me. Then how can they say male? Because we have a male paramparya from starting with Nataraja. Then how it was my very change this, established a standard, established a form for male dancers. At that time, male dancers were not accepted. When I approached some of the great societies like Music Academy, the Sabhas and all that, they said, oh, who will watch a male dancer? That is the answer I gave. But I told them, Bharatanatyam item, overnight or within a month time, I composed, composed a complete Bharatanatyam repertoire, yes, complete repertoire. And as a male dance, only Shanta didn't do that, but I did a solo male Bharatanatyam dancer, Bharatanatyam repertoire, completely no female-oriented items. It was all male-oriented items. Because at that time the taboo was most of the people, even male dancers who were dancing, they were encouraged to take up female-oriented thing, and so they got attached to a sort of effeminate norms, effeminate character. They were doing all that is females doing. So people thought there's nothing wrong in exposing it, but the male can expose, enact female roles like in Kathakali and all that. But when I did a solo performance with male-oriented program items, people accepted this was a revelation for the connoisseurs. There was a big crowd giving ovation to me, and that clicked very well with me. And then later on, when we started choreographing or composing repertoire suitable for male and female, it's like Nrityopaharam, Nrittangaharam, all that clicked very well, because people could see a good male dancer and a female, Lasya and Tandava in a balanced form. That connoisseurs appreciated and then started getting chances. And it was at that time in the late 60s and 70s, people wanted some new pastures to look at, not the same the Alaripo Tilana oriented female items. They wanted some novelty for the new generation. We catered to the new generation. Appreciation of new generation started with those programs which we presented and people appreciated. And since we both shared some of the items and choreographed it in such a way that I do the male portion and she does the female portion, that clicked. So we get a lot of audience and our programs have been very successful. And that is how we established, and that is how a male-oriented Bharatanatyam started in the arena. So the male students who are they took me as an example of making Bharatanatyam successful for male dancers. They took it following me, and it has become now. There are a lot of excellent male men dancers in the Bharatanatyam arena, and thanks to Kalakshetra, who trained us not with effeminate quality, but very strictly man oriented, dance like a man oriented, because, and also Kathakali background given us that manliness in performances. In sometimes when I started Bharatanatyam programs, many people, some people criticized that I am mixing Kathakali into it. Yes, there was not a mixer, but a lot of male element has been incorporated into the technique of Kalakshetra Bharatanatyam. That's how we have made it very successful. And today we can very proudly say that we are one of the best, the proud Bharatanatyam couple. And of course,
Thank you so much, sir and ma'am. I mean, I really wish that all the male dancers who is male their nritya as their career in future in their life. Uh, I want to ask that you run a very popular and prestigious nritya vidyalay called Bharat Kalanjali in Chennai, and you had the Golden Jubilee celebration of Bharat Kalanjali last year in 2019. Your students are across the globe conducting.
2018.
2018.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, ma'am. It's 2018, and it's like your students are all around the globe and conducting classes. Even your son, Shri Satyajit ji, is also continuing with the tradition. So, what is the success of its popularity? And have you started online classes due to in this pandemic situation of COVID-19? How do you deal with it?
The online classes are taken by Shanta. So,
Yeah, this is something new to me. I was so much against it, when people talked about it. This was before COVID thing.
so going to that, Bharatakalanjali's success at that time, in 1960s, there was not many schools around Chennai. Only few were there, and especially with Kalakshetra confined to the four walls of the Kalakshetra campus, people were looking for that kind of training outside. It was not there provided at that time, except in the 1958 or so, Adayar Lakshman sir came out of Kalakshetra, and he was confined to only to some schools like Kalakshetra style of training. They were looking forward to somebody to come out and teach. So it became very, very handy for them to join Bharatakalanjali, the children in Bharatakalanjali. So when we started in 1968, we had a lot of students from people who liked Kalakshetra style and people conscious of Kalakshetra style joined them to our school, and we very fastidiously followed the Kalakshetra method of teaching very meticulously without compromising anything, and very slowly. At that time, of course, some of the parents were feeling that we are very slow. But as it is, we said we are slow. Kalakshetra style is Kalakshetra, according to her, whenever we were there, we started Alaripu in the third year only. So for 2-3 years, fastidiously, we practiced only Adavu, making perfect. The body must be first perfect before enter into the mind. So that is the philosophy. So we did it like that, but many people liked it, many people disliked it, so they started going outside. By then, slowly there were some private classes being taken, some in the other vicinities. They joined them, and some of them there were crash classes those times. Arangetam and all that were there. We were surprised actually. Those days people criticized, but still there was comprehensive style and Arangetam business. It was like a business. People contracted with the parents for big sum, and within few months they used to have Arangetam and all that. But with the same idea, people used to approach us. Though we didn't needed a lot of money at that time, we were very Nothing was there.
Struggling.
There we can use struggling. So, but we didn't compromise for that such kind of thing. Even at that time, in the 70s, I had a big offer of um, almost 5 lakhs of rupees at the time to produce a drama on the NGR's life, which I rejected at that time. At that time, 70s. Some Coimbatore businessmen wanted that. But so we didn't compromise. So all our productions also, we adhere to the norms and the aesthetics of Kalakshetra, but we have incorporated our own creativity, and every production that we did, almost 50 productions we did, and unlike Kalakshetra, we have gone little stepped out of the borders of mythology and Puranas and all that. We have taken Christian themes and Buddhist themes and natural themes like Jungle Book and all that, and incorporated with Western classical dancers and dramatists. That's a big revelation to us, as well as it was a big leap for the other dancers to assimilate. Because we are the first, probably 24 in London. It was a big revelation for the Western audience to see something. They thought Bharatanatyam is the only female dancer, and there cannot be a dance drama out of it. But that was the first time they started seeing it. But of course, in Udaya Shankar, all that, they had group dances called Oriental dances. But this is completely with a classical background of Kathakali, Bharatanatyam, Odissi, Kathak. We incorporated in that production. And that, and out of that, we trained the Londoners to, out of that production, which we did a lot of time, almost 200 times, out of that artists who came out of the Jungle Book productions, some of them has become very big choreographers in London. And that was a very big revelation that in our Bharatiya Natyam can be exploited to expose our, not only our culture, expose any themes that is needed for the social.
Wonderful production called Ghanashyam, the Broken Branch, with the great Pandit Ravi Shankarji.
It's a social theme.
Yes, it's on a social theme. It is based on drug abuse. So that was one of the greatest experiences that we had working with such as Talwart, and going through the entire production with his music and his ideas, because it was his story and his completely he thought about it, and the way he involved us to do the work was one of our greatest experiences in our lifetime.
Definitely,
I should say.
yes.
Okay, I think we'll have to go to the next question.
So productions have been, most of the product, there is a lot of changes, and when we choreograph, we incorporated a lot of new ideas, new postures, new gestures, all that. So that has clicked with the audience. That's how our productions have been very, very successful. And I'm very proud to say most of the production that we did early has gone many, many times. These days, productions don't last one show or two shows. But those days, like Sangamitra, Ramanatakam, we had done it umpteen times, almost 500 times. Those days, and those days, I want to definitely say, we were invited to nook and corner of Tamil Nadu, as well as Kerala, Andhra, and North Indian cities in Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, and Delhi. We used to come to Delhi very often with our productions. These days, this doesn't happen. Unfortunately, people do much very, very, very creative production, but that stop with one or two shows. That is very bad. But we are very proud. Our productions have been screened, staged several times, including did two productions out. That even those productions successfully, Satyajit did choreography, and recently it went to Europe, and that shown at least 10 to 15 times. It has been staged, which is his success, Satyajit's success. Though it is not completely Bharatanatyam.
I just want to complete. You asked me about doing online necessity. So I'm learning, and though I'm not too happy about it, because you just don't feel that one-to-one feel. Years of teaching, just like this, like a guru to Shishya. Coming to this is rather difficult, but I do understand the problem, and I'm trying to accommodate myself. So that's the way it is done.
Yes.
I think my husband is still struggling. He's not.
I taught online two padams, my own composition, lyrics, music, and choreography. I taught these two padams on the line, and I was not very happy. But anyway, in a way, I was able to communicate to them. My face was available to them. My expression were available to them very clearly. But to their expression, I was not very clear because it is in smaller measures. But I think they gained a lot from my very closely seeing my face expression, the expression nuances of Abhinaya. They were able to understand through.
I think we are coming close to.
I think the last question, sir. You have been a part of SPIC MACAY movement and have been performing for us all over India since last 3 decades. Can you?
That is one of the wonderful experiences that we always cherish. There is a very big article I have contributed to SPIC MACAY's 25th anniversary, and I hope, I don't know how many of them have read it. Sailing with SPIC MACAY, that is the title of the article. Please try to read that if you have a souvenir, in which we have visited. I should say SPIC MACAY has given us the opportunity to go nook and corner of our country and speak to our young generation and inculcate in them the spirit of Bharatiyatvam and Asha Samskaram, which they always liked. And this is one, again, whenever I address them as our country is Bharatam and we are Bharatiya, they all clapped because they liked it. They liked, everybody in the SPIC MACAY circuit, they liked the name Bharat to be named. That is one experience. But experience-wise, of course, it was very organized by students and voluntary organizations. Sometimes there was little unlike experiences which we understood. We were able to analyze, but Punjab when it was burning, because nobody wanted to go there at that time. It was very difficult. At that time, when they had the All India Convention in IIT, everybody backed out of going to Punjab. And then I stood up and said, no, don't worry, I will come. They were all surprised. How can you go there? It is burning. Punjab is burning. So I took it as a challenge, and I said, Punjab is our country, part of Bharatam. So whatever if they are struggling, let us also face the same experience. So we went nook and corner of Punjab at that time, and it was burning, and we had some protections, also police protections and all that too. And that was the greatest experience. We were able to understand. Yes, we were able to understand the cultural values the Punjab holds, and they used to say, we have only agriculture, we don't know culture. But yes, they have the Bharatiya culture, and we were very, very happy. And even today, we are very happy.
Has done great service, and I'm sure it's going to continue this. And thank you to all who have
Ma'am, and all the young students, those who are there as a part of in this Adhyayan Abhyas, just your message to all the students.
Yes, for students, discipline is a very, very great asset. From childhood to the university level, they should adhere to certain lively discipline and don't indulge in other things. Just concentrate on your studies. Discipline, devotion towards your studies, and dedication to the cause of our progress, cultural progress. On slots, we are today standing up like this is because of clean, disciplined life. Don't indulge in indisciplined things. Even I detest, I oppose children, students participating in the strikes and upheavals in the protest in the country. They have to concentrate, disciplined, concentrate on their studies. And these children who are watching this must don't become revolutionary now. Only after a college education or a university education, you can take up good cause in a good way, in a disciplinary way. You don't need to burn the national on the as Rabindranath Tagore said, it's education without character is destructive. Rabindranath Tagore has said, education without character is disastrous. Like wild, disciplined candle can illuminate the room, but indisciplined flame can destroy the surroundings.
Thank you so much, sir and ma'am. This was really a answer. I have learned a lot from you. Really, really. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, sir and ma'am.
Thank you.
Vedinathan, sir, Dr.
Thank you. Wonderful note. You ended with discipline. I think that is the utmost importance in life. Thank you, Natyacharya, Dhananjay sir, and Shanta, Dhananjay and madam, sparing your valuable time for SPIC MACAY's Anubhav Suresh. I took your thing, what you call, the way you convey the values for the younger generation to take it from you, because we are going in the technological excellence. This type of things takes a back seat. But I think you have given such a lot of importance to simplicity and discipline in life. I think this is a great takeaway for younger generations. Your inspiring talk is going to help many of the viewers and many younger generation to take over this as an art form for learning and teaching, performing. Maybe some of them could become an art critic speaking. I think it is an intangible asset that Dr. Kiran State keeps telling. How to showcase the intangible asset to some material to the Anubhav series. I think we will take more from you. And wonderful thing I liked about your thing is your partnership as an engineer and architect by establishing Bharatanatyam. Kalanjali is an excellent, I should say, a contribution to society, sir. It is
Before winding up, I just wanted to add, our greatest achievement in life is conducting Gurukulam, real Gurukulam in Virginia for 25 years continuously, which has contributed a lot to the improvement of Bharatiya Sanskriti in USA.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much,
Your
sir.
note on being an Indian is something which is very amazing. I think it should sink into everybody. We don't want to call it India, it should be Bharat in every respect of it. Thank you, and thank you to all the viewers who have been here. And I am very thankful to Urvashi.
Thank you, sir and ma'am. Pranam.
She has joined.
Namaskar. A very warm good morning. I welcome you all to day 4 of SPIC MACAY's Anubhav series. We will continue with our Bharatanatyam workshop with our guru, Apurva Jayaramanji, and her student Bhargavi. We welcome you, ma'am, Bhargavi. Apurva ji is one of the great artists of Bharatanatyam. Besides dancing, she's also into astrophysics. She did her PhD in astronomy from Cambridge University. She has traveled all across the world, include performing, and she has won many awards, and her works has been published in international magazines and newspapers. Currently, she is into Junior Research Fellowship of Ministry of Culture, Government of India. Now, before we start, I would like to mention all these students are requested to mark their attendances via feedback forms on the respective dashboards. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Alankrita. Thank you so much. Good morning. Namaskar to everybody with all the activities that have been happening since early morning, and particularly the interaction session with Dhananjayan sir and Shanta Akka. And very happy to move on to our third day of the workshop. So we've actually done quite a bit of stuff in the last 2 days. So what I thought would be nice for us to start with today is start with a quick recap or revision of everything that we have done so far, for the benefit of all of us to come back on the same page and collect our thoughts into this class. Okay, so while we get screenshot for Namaskarams before starting the class. Can we all do that together? So I'm going to request all of you to stand with me and take a few moments to enter this class with focus, leaving behind everything else that we're talking about, seeing everything that's distracting us in the outside world, and try to bring yourself into the space of the class, not just physically, but also mentally, right? And this is something that is far more important in a world today where we are unable to always reach our dance class or the space or the hall or the auditorium, where automatically physically being in that environment creates for us the necessary focus. So given that we're only all of us looking into a certain set of screens, each of us, whether it's you or me, it's very important for us to take that time and mentally picture and enter the space that we want to occupy. Okay, so let's all do the namaskaram together. You all know it now, so there's nothing new. But I'd like you to really feel your feet on the ground. Take a while, place your feet on the ground, all your toes pressing on the ground nicely. Feel your feet on the ground. Okay, because that's what's going to support us for the rest of the time. Now, push yourself against the floor, straighten your knees, feel all the muscles in your leg contract, tighten, pull you up. Feel your core muscles, all the muscles in this region, your abdomen, tightening, lengthening your spine, and feel like somebody is pulling you up like this in the straight. Okay, pulling you up straight. So your spine feels reaching out. Okay, that's the position that we're going to start with. That is our samapana. Okay, from here, we bring our hands, we come back. Close your eyes for just 10 seconds in this position. And breathe out. A deep breath in. Breathe out. And fill your lungs with fullest capacity and breathe out. Open your eyes, going in front, go down, look straight and go down with your spine straight, and let's have that. Refocus on what we've done in the last 2 days. Okay, there's a lot that we have learned. So, can we bring up the screen share with the document with the recap to come up on the screen so that it will be easy for all of us to follow together?
Just a moment, ma'am. It is just happening.
Sure, sure. No worries. Today, what we're going to try and do is put together these elements that we have learned over the last 2 days, okay, as well as the new elements that we're going to learn today. And so what we did is on day 1, we started with learning the sounds, right? We went on to building more and more words, which are the adavals of Bharatanatyam. So today, what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and put little adavals together to create phrases. Okay, these may not be entire sentences, smaller sections of phrases, which in Bharatanatyam we call a korvai. Okay, a korvai in Tamil, it's just translated as, it's a word that means a sequence, right? Something that comes in continuity, one after the other, which is essentially what we're doing, right? When we create a collection of words together, we're sequencing them in a beautiful pattern. So today we're going to learn how we're going to go from word to sequence, and we'll probably learn to text or in a song. So to see how all of that can come together to create meaning for us. Okay.
Ma'am, it might take a moment. My laptop just hanged actually.
Oh, no problem.
So you
can you just let us know whenever we're ready with that? Till then, I will just go forward.
Sure. I'll let you know. Yeah.
So we are going to wait for that screen thing to come up for us to revise what we did yesterday, because I think that's very useful for us to do. But in the meantime, let's start today with, like I said, every day we're going to focus on a different anga or a different part of the body and see what kind of variations we can have with it. Today, we go on to trying to qualify a set of movements which you already learned yesterday, actually. We didn't learn it consciously, but we definitely incorporated them in our movements, which is the movement of the neck, right? We did speak of this, that this movement of the neck is something that is very, very characteristic of Bharatanatyam in particular, not just our classical art forms, right? So if you go and possibly ask any friend of yours or a neighbor who knows nothing about Bharatanatyam and say, how does Bharatanatyam look? They're invariably either going to show you like a hasta like this, right? Like we spoke about the Alapadma hasta, which is very common, or they're going to show you this movement. So for some reason, this has become the most fascinating image of Bharatanatyam and the image that is associated with art form. So why not let's go through that formally and try to look at the names of the different kinds of neck movements. And that's not the only kind of neck movement that we have. Okay, so let's see what are the different possibilities. So we can all do this seated down itself together because it is the Vedas. So hands on our hip. I'm going to do it once so that you can see it, and then you can do it along. Okay. So this first neck movement that we use commonly is called Sundari. Okay. So right, left, right, left. This is called Sundari. Then we have, additional to this right and left movement, we add a up and down movement of the neck. So it's two movements. movements of the neck combined, which is called Tirschina. Tiraschina. Prakampita is a forward and a backward movement of the neck. This can again be done in any direction. Prakampita. Parivartita. Let's try it together. Sundari. Tiraschina. Prakampita. There are two variations of Parivartita. Parivartita is like a half moon movement, which you can either do with your neck along your body, or you can do a half moon like that. Okay, so these are the four variations of the neck movements that you use, and it's nice for us to know what our today commonly this is used instead of calling it the Griva Vedha. Griva is your neck, okay? Vedha, like we went come to the word so many times, is variations in together. Particularly this neck movement is referred to as the Attami. Okay, so one of the techniques to neck movements, it's actually not a simple thing to do, right? The first thing your neck does is do this. That's the easier hands like this, like we do in a Karakata Hasta, right? Our double hand gesture, but tightly, and please keep your neck absolutely straight and place your hand on top of your head. So basically, you ensure that this movement doesn't happen by making sure your hand is creating a upper surface for the head. And from here, so that you know how much pressure you want to apply, and go right and left, right and left. Okay, so this is a nice way of learning the Attami in the very beginning when we start with, till we are able to then practice it in the slow speed and improve it to going on into fast speed movements. Okay, yesterday we definitely incorporated both the first two Griva Vedhas while we were doing the Tattametta Adam. Right? If you remember, we did Ta, Ki, Ta, Ta, Ki, Ta. Right? And we also did Ta, Kal, Thi. We used in the Sankirnam beats of 9 followed by right and left, which is Sundari. Okay, so today we know the technical terms that we can use to refer to all of these neck movements. Okay, so that's going to be our new addition to our little tool of technical terms. Okay, as we go along. And the next thing that I would like to go on today is to learn a very, very beautiful part of Bharatanatyam, which we don't necessarily learn as an adavu or a movement when we actually start learning dance. Somehow it is, although it is one of the most elegant parts, and again, I think a very defining part of our style, we don't pay that much attention to it when we do the basics or the beginnings. It doesn't fall under our adavu scheme. And this is the walk in Bharatanatyam, right? It's very common that when people see a dancer walk, for many, many reasons, they can almost recognize that you are a dancer. Why? Because we hold our spine up in a way, right? Our posture is not like this. Our posture is actually held up in a certain way. Yeah. So our spine, the way we hold our spine is something very, very important, right? Very beautiful posture. But apart from that, it is usually how we present our walk, how we walk. And in Bharatanatyam, again, particularly, it is a very, very beautiful movement that we use. So today we're going to first learn how to do the walk in Bharatanatyam and then see what kind of variations we can introduce. Okay, so let's start. So, how do we normally, when I normally walk in life, I walk like this, right? This is how I front and back. The key to the walk in Bharatanatyam is that you're going to lift the leg and only then place it down. Okay? Instead of placing it straight up front like this, like a regular walk, I'm going to lift and place. That's the only way I'm going to lift and place. Second very important rule. Where do I place my foot? Okay, so this is the way, even normally when you walk in normal life, the best practice is for you to place your feet. That's how the body is made, right? Not to be walking on your toes. So we will follow that same idea. So the lift is going to be lifting your leg backwards, not like this. We don't want to lift it up front, but towards the back. Your feet touching your back, and then bring it forward. And you see how I flex my foot already, and I place it nice and tight. My knees are straight, my toes are pulled up. Okay, and from here I transfer the weight onto the front leg while getting the back leg on its toes. Okay, so let me do it facing front. See how it looks. We lift and place, transfer, lift, place on the heel, transfer the weight forward. Okay, so this is the second rule. First rule is lift the legs, second rule is place on the heel, but still something is missing, right? Imagine if I were to walk like there's something. How does this look? This looks stiff. It doesn't look like a dance. It looks, in fact, a lot more rigid than a normal walk, right? So what is it? Why am I doing all of this lifting, placing on the heel? Why is this essential? Without adding this other extra small quality, which I'm going to show you, it doesn't transform into the dance again, right? Something beautiful again. And this important thing is what we call a little spring action or a bounce. Okay? In Tamil, it's called a kulittu, which is basically something like a little bounce, a little spring action. So, if I were to lift my leg and place, I'm going to fold my knee. Instead of placing like that, I fold the other knee and release the knee when I place the leg. Okay? So, I lift my left leg. When I do that, my right knee bends ever so slightly. And as I place the knee down, I become one. And one. And two. Similarly, going back and two. Back and two. Okay? So now, if I were to do a walk, this is how it looks. Okay, so with that one little addition of that spring action, we created a much more beautiful and elegant looking movement for something as simple as a walk. Okay, and this is something you can master or learn very easily, right? It's not a very complex set of movements, yet it is so nuanced and it creates so much of beauty as part of the dance. So why don't we spend a little bit of time looking at the walk itself, okay? So I'm going to ask all of you to do it with us now and Bhargavi to do it with us as well. And we're going to simply do first, we just start with the walk, 4 walks forward and 4 walks back, okay? Shall we all start with that together? Come, let's do it together. One, two, three, start. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And back. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The rhythmic units of dance, South Indian dance and music, right? The 5 rhythmic units that form the basic rhythmic components. So if you remember, the very first one that we did was called Tishram, counts of 3, correct? So why don't we now do the walk in counts of 3, okay? So what was the solikatta for the counts of 3? Ta, ki, ta. So for every set of 3, we're going to place 1 foot forward. Shall we try that? So Bhargavi is going to do it with you, and I'd like all of you to do it along with her. Let's start. So once again, push yourself against the floor, straighten your spine, look straight ahead of you with the Samar Drishti. We did the Drishti Vedha yesterday, the variations of the eyes, the very first variation of the eye looking straight forward. Okay? So, Dhardam, Kuttaka, Dhiku, Taka, Tadi, Gina, Tom, Ta, Ki, Ta, Ki, Ta, Ta, Ki, Ta, Ta, Ki, Ta. Backwards, Ta, Ki, Ta, Ta, Ki, Ta, Ta, Ki, Ta, Ki, Ta. Very nice. Okay? So, what did we do now? Every beat that we placed, every walk that we placed was 3 beats in length. Okay? We're going to go on now to do 4 beats. Okay? Which is what we started with, except for we were not counting the Solikatte. We counted it as 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? But let's do it now properly with the Solikatte. What was the Solikatte for 4? Ta, ka, thi, mi. Okay? Let's do it. So I'm going to say the Solikatte now in a second speed, okay, without slowing down. Okay? We take it at a second speed. Let's start. Dhardam, Kuttaka, Dhiku, Taka, Tadi, Gina, Tom, Taka, Himi, Taka, Chonu, Taka, Himi, Taka, Chonu, backwards, Himi, Taka, Chonu, Taka, Himi, Taka, Chonu. Used in Bharatanatyam. The important thing is the backward walk as well, right? Now that is not very commonly used in normal life for us, right? We don't look at somebody and walk backwards, unless you're trying to get away from them or something. So this backward walk is something really to pay attention to. And what happens in the backward walk is we are reversing the movement in every which way. So out of the 3 rules, we will lift the leg, that remains. But instead of now placing the heel, we place the toes going backwards, right? It's like playing your, imagine somebody's taken a video of you walking forward and you're going to play it in its rewind mode, right? So backwards, you're playing it backwards. So you have to place it on its toe going backward. And the important thing is, how do you finish? Where does the weight transfer finish, right? The weight has to be transferred to the back of the body or to the back. It's very important. Let me show you that once. So from here, if I were to start, okay, I lift once again, lift the leg, place it on my toes. So let me show you from the side. Lift, place it on the toe, okay, and from here, I have to transfer the weight back exactly like it transferred forward. I place that heel down, lift this toe up. Lift, place on the toe, transfer the weight back. Okay? But this, of course, happens in a continuous action. And the other very important rule for us to maintain is the walk happens in a straight line. Okay? So I have to make sure that my placement of my leg happens in a single straight line, both forward and back. So you do not want to place the leg like that. You don't want to place the leg like that while doing a straight movement forward and back. Because we can definitely introduce variations within the walk itself, right? So are all of you able to see the presentation for the recap? Yes, I think we are able to. So if we can get that up on full screen if possible, I think it will be nice for us to address that before we go forward. I'm just waiting for them to get it up on full screen because then you might be able to see it much better. So that's exactly what we're going to do, Nisha. So you can pay attention now to the screen that we're going to show you. Because so what we started off, of course, by now you're very familiar with this, is the three positions for the lower body, right? Of positions from which we create movement. And this were the standing up position, which we call Samapada. The half sitting, very familiar to you, Arai Mandi, okay, indicates a generic position. And finally, we have the Muru Mandi, which is a full sitting position. Once again, in Tamil, Muru means full and Mandi or Mandala is something that denotes the a generic position. So this were the three basic. More interesting, where we said we are working with the sound. Okay, how do we start learning a language? The sounds that make up the language. So we started with the Pada Veda, the variations of the feet, and in different ways in which we can use the feet, for which we had the Pada Veda Shloka, which is what I have up on the next slide that I would like. Are we able to move on to the second slide, please? Yes, wonderful. So the Pada Veda, the entire thing that has been written down is the Shlokam of the Pada Veda in Sanskrit. So now this is a very important thing. When we say the Hasta Veda, which are the single hand gestures in Shloka, we say Patakas, Tripatako, Ardhapatakaha, Kattari Mukaha, right? Now these endings of the words are required to join the two names that here are only Bhargavi, Apurva, and is not important. So when I refer to Bhargavi, I can't say her name is Bhargavi and. Okay, so which is why I've marked is Udghatitaha, Anchitaha, Kunchita. This is the entire shloka which is telling you there are 6 variations of the feet which are such and such. But if you were to refer independently to the Veda alone, you will only say the words which I have marked in red and underlined. Udghatita, Sama, Agratala Sanchara, Anchita, Kunchita. Everything else that comes in between are these conjunctions. Tatha, Samaschaiva. So Sama as well as something else. Agratala Sanchara. If possible, in both the formats. One is the shloka format as well as the independent names of the Pada Veda. Moving on to the next slide was what we did yesterday. We did the shloka. So the entire thing that we will read together is the shloka. But what has been marked as bold is what you will use to refer to that particular eye movement independently. The name of that particular eye movement. So let's read the shloka out together. What do we have? Samam alokitam sachi pralokita nimilite ullokita anuvritte cha tatha chaivavalokitam. Okay? Then it goes into the last line, always in a shlokam, tells you in such a manner there are 4 times or 9 times or 10 times of the particular Veda of this particular part of the body. That is what the last line is telling you. Okay. So once again, if I were just referring to the movements, it is not, it is just Sama, Alokita, Sachi, Pralokita. Most important when we come to Nimilita, it is Nimilite is part of the shlokam. So when you refer to the idea as such, it is Nimilita, Ullokita, Anuvritta, not Anuvrittecha, because that means Anuvritta and Anuvritta, Avalokita. Okay, these are the different variations of the eye movements that we worked on. And that is something that maybe we can revise on the last day of the workshop. Once again, we can go through everything along with them. So if we go on to the next slide from here, just a quick look. This, we don't have to dwell too much on this, but just to remind ourselves, what are the hasta, the single hand hasta variations that we have gone through so far is Pataka, Tripataka, Kattari Mukha, Shikhara, Katakamukha, Suchi, Alapadma, and Tamarachura. Right? These are all the hastas that we have explored. Their uses, Vritta, which is the technical dance side, and Abhinaya, which is the expressional or the narrative dance side. Going on to the next slide, is extremely useful for us to really get this set in our head, right? In terms of what it is that we're doing with the rhythmic patterns. So first of all, you see that we have the 5 basic rhythmic patterns, which is 3, 4, 5, 7, and 9. We have the names of each of these patterns, which is Tishra, Chatushra, Khanda, Mishra, and Sankirna, which is just the names, the nomenclature for each one of these rhythmic patterns. But the most important thing is for us to understand how one, right, the other 3 also become combinations of the first 2, okay? And you can see even in the Solikatta pattern that we see, how they repeat themselves, right? So Takkitta is wherever you get the count of 3 later, give me for 4. Therefore, when I go into 5, what do? I need 2 from the 4 and retain. And going on to 9, I can start again with Takadhimi, but I need to add 2 more counts over here. So it's Takadhimi plus 5 plus the Khanda. Takka, Takkitta. Okay. This writing it down like this is very, very dance notation. How to write down dance and how can you write down rhythmic structures as you learn them. So all of these 3 is the last thing that we will leave as part of our revision, because we're going to take it forward with exactly the exercise that we were doing right now, right? To bring in these patterns into our next movement, which is the walk. This is on the class and actually dances with us. So let's come back to the walk that we were working on, okay? And I'm going to take it back to the 3s. Let's do the Tishra and do the walk in the Tishra rhythmic pattern, okay? Bhargavi, can we do it? So all of us together now start snaky movements, no circular curvy movement, okay? We're going to start with the 3s. Dhala, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, ki, ta, ki, ta, ki, ta. So we'll stay right there and continue with the Chatushram, okay, which is the 4 beats pattern. And I'm going to say the Solikatta in a second speed, okay? Chunu, takka, dhimi, takka, chunu, takka, dhimi, takka, chunu, takka, dhimi, takka, dhimi. Very nice. And now let's move on to 5s, okay? Now let's explore how a walk can be done in a 5-count exploration. There are 2 ways in which we can do it. One is by once again placing 1 foot for ta, 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 ki, ta, 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 ki, ta, 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 ki, ta, 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 ki, ta. Okay. But what makes the Khandam more interesting is when we start looking at how is a Khandam defined. Here is where it gets interesting. What was the Khandam a combination of? It was 2 and 3. So when we mark the Adavu as well as 2 plus 3, the form of the Khandam, the form of the 5 will emerge in a much more clear way to the ear as well as the eye. Okay, so what do I mean by that? We're going to place 1 foot each, not for 5 counts at a time, but for the first 2 counts, 1 foot, and the next 3 counts, another. Okay, so how does that happen? Here, I will do ta, 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 ki, ta, 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 ki, ta, 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 ki, ta, 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 ki, ta. Okay, so you see what happens here. Something interesting has happened. Okay, you have created a small asymmetry between your right foot and your left foot. Correct? Because the right foot emphasizes the 2 counts, left foot emphasizes the 3 counts. So by creating that, you are immediately making me aware that something about the rhythm has changed. It is not even. It is not 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, even circular, but 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So this asymmetry that you have created immediately brings the attention of an audience to say, oh, something different happened. They don't know that it is khandam or it is 5 or the technical terms, but the beauty of what you're doing with that rhythm comes alive. Okay, so we're going to try this, but in addition, I'm going to introduce a small variation to what are the different additional body movements you can add on to the walk itself. Okay, one is what we have already done now, walking straight forward, straight back. But the other thing is introducing a little bit of body sway or body turns, right? So what I can do is with the same placement of the right leg forward, I can twist the right leg a little bit, turn my shoulder. Okay, so I have turned my shoulders towards the right side, and I can either look or movement. Okay, for instance, if I look 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so you see automatically now what I have done. Why did I specify that you have to walk in a straight line? Because when you take this one shoulder turn here, okay, because the alignment of flow, your toes, your ankles, your knees, your hips, your shoulders, this is a very important line to maintain, right? And twists are not created without awareness. Any twist that we do is created with a very clear awareness as to where each of these joints are facing. These are very pivotal points in the body for us, for the geometry of that. Okay, so from here, what we do, this would mean all the points that I specified are facing in the same direction. But now, if I use one smart twist to it, by taking all of my body here, except for my head. So all of my body here, except for my head. So how does this change how I look when I walk? 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so you see how it creates a different aesthetic, a different sense, a sense of fun, and a different emotional quality to the walk. Okay, so now what we're going to try and do together, Bhargavi, I will do it with you, and you're going to do it with us. We're going to do khandam. Counts of 5 with 2 placements of the leg, right? 2 plus 3 with this body. Can we try that? Yeah. From here, khandam. So, ta, 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 ki, ta, 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 ki, ta, ba, and ta, ki, ta, 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 ki, ta. Right? We're going to do ta, 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 ki, ta, 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 ki, ta. Okay? 1, 2, 3, ta, ki, ta. One more time. Ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, 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 ta. So, for me personally, these walks are the places that I have greatest fun, because I think it's just so, it feels like a release. It feels really like you're having so much of fun where you do that little bounce, right? At the same time, it is not the body melting and loose. The body is held up straight. So there is great alacrity, great, it's almost like a movement that comes out of a certain pride, almost, right? It feels like that internally within the body. So that's something that I'd really like you to spend time playing with that movement. Do that when you have free time and see how that's how we do. We hold our hands like this in the Anjali Hasta and walk into stage. That walk defines your entire character as a Bharatanatyam dancer. So that's absolutely paramount for us to get that right in the beginning. Okay, so that was a walk in khandam. Now, just to show you one more variation of what we can possibly do with the walks. Can we only walk up and down? So we've done straight. We've done these two movements of the shoulders forward and back. But a walk can also be used to cover space towards the side. That's quite possible. Same principle, but how will we do that? So I'm going to ask Bhargavi to show us a movement towards the side. Okay, we first do it without any solicitative. We will just do it as counts: 1, 2, 3, and so on. Okay, and she's also going to do this with employing the hands over here. So this is another two additions we're creating. Is one is the walk is going to be towards the side. Second is we're going to embrace without keeping the hands only on the hip. Okay, so let's try this with some counts first. Come. So let's start. And 3, Murmandi on 4th count. Nice. And come back to Aramandi 1 and 2. And let's look at it one more time. What have we done here? We've spoken about. We're walking in Samapadam, but we can give it an Aramandi Tatte and a finishing with Murumandi as well. Okay, let's do that one more time. 1, 2, 3, start. 1 and 2 and 3. Nice. So over here, once again, the moment you create any single variation, okay, of a walk, everything that you can now bring into from your bag of tools, you have to. What are these things? The neck and the eye movements? Absolutely. Okay. So let me show you how we can add the neck and the eyes to a simple movement like this, which is the walk. And Bhargavi has done this with the Pataka Hasta. Very important. So remember, we did the Tattadave with Pataka Hasta in the Natyarambha position. Now we are using similarly the Natyarambha position, but with one hand stretched in Natyarambha, the other hand near your chest. Okay. So I'm going to, of course, what am I going to do? I'm going to follow my hands. That's the simple rule, right? You don't have much else to think about. So I do 1, 2. When I finish, I look back to the audience in the center. And 3. Once again. From this side to the center. And again follow the hand from the side. Adding a neck movement. Coming back to the center. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, hand, and release. I'm not turning, I'm not bending, I'm holding everything, I'm not turning, I'm not bending, I'm holding everything straight, and I do 1 and 2, and 1 and 2. So when I add to it the neck and the head and the eyes, and tuck, 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 okay? So it creates a very interesting visual movement for your upper torso. So the shoulder movement is also something that we can add in this sideward movement. Okay? So we do 1, open. So when I open here, instead of just doing 2, I do 2. In and out. Similarly, I walk again, shoulder again. And use your anatomy and come back to stomach. Tuck it, open and shoulder. Okay, so you see how much that embellishes the movement that we create with a simple walk with addition of one layer at a time. And first, neck, and then an additional idea of the show. Everything. Let's try and see how it looks. I'm going to ask Bhargavi to do it first with just counts, okay? Single counts, we'll take it slowly, 1 count at a time, so that you can pay attention to what you're doing, okay? Come, let's start. And 2, use your shoulder and lean forward, Bhargavi, wait on the second count. Can we come back with this? Stop at every count, okay, so that we can see what to pay attention. Start one more time. 1, 2, 3, start. Can we do that without releasing your Aramandi? Bhargavi, no up and down movement. Stay in Aramandi, nice and sharp. 1, 2, 3, start and stop. Nice. Turn around, follow the hand, take your shoulder in and release. Look at the audience. Second walk. Again, shoulder in, release, look at the audience. Now, as you come to Murumandi, follow the hand all the way Attami, and come back all the way to Murumandi, Samadrishti. Following the hand, take the shoulder in and release towards the audience. Walk. Bhargavi, I want you to pay attention and everybody along with me. What is the common thing when you do shoulder? So I open, okay, but then because this shoulder is going in, my entire body goes like that, right? The other shoulder goes in front to compensate. You have to hold this other shoulder back when you open, and it's just one. You see, this remains where it is. Only then that movement will find its way to your audience, the vision of the audience, right? So, 1 and 2. That's not 1. All right. Can we try it one more time? All of us together, paying attention to this particular idea in the movement. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Start. 1 and 2 and 3 and Aramandi. 1. Nice. Open out. Shoulder in and release to the audience and bring in the hand with attention. Straight to you. Once again, we need to have always rhythm for dance, right? We cannot dance with 1, 2, 3, 4. It means nothing at all to us to count numbers. Why? Because we are not defining how long each of this number is, right? Is it 1, 2, 3? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4? Right? We need to have very clear definitions of pace, rhythm, okay, and the length of each movement that we are doing in a very, very clear-cut way. Okay, so precision and rhythm is absolutely paramount. Mishram is 7 counts. Okay, so we are going to take Mishram as 3 plus 4, which means out of the 4 steps that we just did, 4 movements, the first will go in Takkita, second will go in Takkadimi, third will go in Takkita, fourth will go in Takkadimi. Okay, so can we first once, I'd like all of you to watch Bhargavi doing it once so that it makes sense, and then all of us can try doing it together. Shall we try that? And we try it in a very slow start. Ta, ki, ta, ta, ka, di, mi, ta, ki, ta, ta, ka, di, mi, ta, ki, ta, ta, ka, di, mi, ta, ki, ta, ta, ka, di. Okay, asymmetry, so to say, a variation. In this case, let's say it is a variation. It is something that Takkita is shorter, Takkadimi is longer. So what happens is you can do Takkita, Takkadimi. Takkadimi, you can use time and expands to do it, whereas the Takkita is shorter, right? So I'm just going to show it to you, just the upper body movement once before we do it together. So what am I doing? I do Takkita, Takkadimi, Takkita, Takkadimi. So you see how between the Takkadimi, these 2 movements, 2 and 3 were the same. It was shoulder in, audience. Shoulder in, audience. But when I do Takkadimi as against Takkita, there is a difference. One is slower, filled, elegant, flowing. The other one is sharper, staccato, and crisper, right? So you're creating for me in the same movement a interesting variation between flowing movements and crisp and sharp. Okay, so rhythmic structure allows this space for you. And this is something very important to keep in mind. It is not mere numbers. It is not 3. Yes, let me, mug up 3, 4, 5, 7, 9. No. Each of them are almost like personalities. They have certain characteristics, which is what we need to try and understand. Okay. So shall we do this one more time? We're going to do it. Let's just start and try it about 2 or 3 times on both sides. Okay. Bhargavi, let's do Mishram slightly faster. One more time. In this, you can play with the speed of your atomy. You can do a faster speed atomy if you like, a slower speed atomy if you like, to create a many more variations within the structure that we're doing. Okay, so that was an exploration of walking in Bharatanatyam, which is a very important element, combined with everything else that we've done so far. Movement of the neck, eyes, and rhythmic structure. Okay, that might be a good moment for us to just take a pause, 5 minutes for the mind and the body. And I'm also going to take any questions that you may have at this point of time. So if there are any questions at all, please, the walk, perhaps questions of the walk, maybe there were some video buffering problems, and what we have done so far. So basically what we've done so far is that we have looked at the walk, how the walking forward, place your toe while walking backward, and create a small spring action or a bounce while walking. And this we can do in variations forward and back, variations while using the sway of the body, as well as variations walking towards the side. So we've explored many different ways in which we can use the walk in Bharatanatyam. Okay. So we'll wait for questions to come up, but you can just take 2 minutes to compose body and mind, because what we're going to go on to next requires attention and energy. Okay. So like I told you, we're going to start creating phrases or sequences of adavus, which we call four-way. So we're going to create a very small four-way with adavus that we have already learned in the last 2 days. Okay. So that's going to be a little more complex and demanding, and we all need to be attentive to it. So we're just going to take 2 minutes to breathe, have a sip of water, and then we'll start. Yes. So I see a comment, question actually from Tusheen Naram. Any tip for the shoulder movement? Okay. So when we start with the shoulder movement, the best way to start off with it is while still facing front. Okay, so that we don't overcomplicate our movements going towards any side. Start while facing front and start with Natyarambam. Okay. Now, one very nice way to practice this movement is to place your hand on this shoulder and make sure it doesn't move. By that I mean so that it doesn't do this, it doesn't do this, okay? It doesn't do any kind of movement. So it's almost like you're holding this shoulder in place. Hold it in whatever way. This is not part of the dance. Just make sure you can hold it like this, like this, like this. Make sure there is no movement, okay? So now my right hand then is in Natyarambam, and I'm going to try and achieve the movement. So first things first, no turning around. So the moment I do this, this hand should push this back. Okay. Second, no this. The moment I do that, hand should push it down. That's the reason why we have this hand on the shoulder. Okay. And try, don't move your eye, which looks like this. You're pushing that ball and socket joint inside and pulling it back to its relaxed weight, right? So you're working from the shoulder of the right side exclusive. So just practice it like this. You can try it with me. Hold the shoulder and slowly move in and out. In and out. The other thing that happens is this is a common tendency, both for the right as well as the left. Okay. So to make sure that you're not doing this, so space between the ear and the shoulder has to be very clear, and in and out. Okay. I'm also going what you need to feel in your shoulder. Alright. So if I was placing myself like this, and once again I'm going to do it place this hand on the shoulder, right hand here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and 8. So you see how the shoulder bone, the shoulder blade at the back is working for you to create movement in that joint. Okay, so doing this support mechanism is a very good way of practicing it. Of course, this is if you're practicing on your own. But if you're able to practice in a class with other people, or if you are a teacher who is teaching a student, the teacher can hold the other shoulder of the student, right? Gently support. It's not held very tightly, but just very gently support, so that any kind of a movement against that, the student will immediately feel the tension and say, yes, I'm moving the shoulder, right? So that's the only awareness that you have to create to start initiating movement on the right. Okay. Let's see if we have anything else. Kirubhaharini, is that how I say the name? Very, very pretty name. Is asking us how to get rid of the pain while sitting in Aramandi. Okay, and I'm going to take it in tandem with an additional question by Soumya, who's asking us any suggestion to sustain the Aramandi. Okay, now the answer to both these questions is the same. Why do we have pain in any muscle? We have a pain in a muscle when the muscle is unable to keep up with the stress of doing the work. Okay. Now this will be the same thing. Say if you're carrying something in your hand, you're carrying say a bucket of water. How long can you carry it? You can carry it maybe for 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I cannot do this anymore. I don't have the strength. So the simple answer to this is strength building. Building the muscles of your thighs, particularly, to be strong enough to support your Aramandi for long enough. You can, of course, do this by additional exercise. You can do a lot of other exercises like lunges, like squats, so many other things that can be used to build the strength in the thighs, but nothing better than doing the Aramandi and doing the Adavis in the Aramandi. Okay? And don't give up. This is very important. One thing that can be incorporated in the beginning of your class is to sit in Aramandi for a certain set of counts or a certain time period. Start by sitting in Aramandi for 25 counts. Increase it to about 30, 40, 50 counts, and see how far you can increase these number of counts as you go along in your dance practice. Very useful mechanism. And the important thing is never to give up moment the leg starts paining. Okay? Remember, every time when your leg pains and you sustain that pain even for the next 20 seconds, 10 seconds, you have pushed the capacity of your muscle by that much. Because despite the pain you have sustained, so your muscle has built a little bit more capacity to handle that. So that is the key thing. Usually what happens is, we say we are doing a third first speed, second speed, third speed. Every time at the end of second speed, if my leg starts aching, I'll stop. End of second speed, leg starts aching, I will stop. Right? So what happens is, your practice is not moving towards anything at all. You're not building capacity for your muscle. Always. If second speed, your leg starts aching, do a little bit of third speed. At least one repetition of third speed before you stop. Next class, try to do 2 repetitions of third speed before you stop. So always push one step beyond capacity. One step. Push beyond the pain. Never in an unreasonable manner. Right? If my legs are paining very badly, I cannot dance for 1 hour more than with that pain. That is not good for your body. But you can push for the next 5 minutes to start with, the next 10 minutes to start with. So, in gradual layers, and sustaining the Aramandi ultimately is only got to do with its stamina. It is strength building in your quads. Like I said, no better way than to do your Adabis and really work on doing the others without compromise every day. Okay? Whenever I do eye movements, my neck also moves. So what should I do? This is a question from Anvesha. So Anvesha, most of the times we actually use both of this in tandem. So I don't think it's that big a problem, right? Even when when I do, I can either do right, left, or I do right, left. It's quite natural, of course, for me, for my neck to get employed in the movement, especially if it's coming as part of a movement, okay? But if you want to practice your isolated eye movement, once again, it's the same thing. Support yourself. Use your hands to support your neck. Watch where the movement comes from and try to don't hold too tight. That is never good for your body. But it's just a gentle support so that the moment the neck moves, you're aware and you push it back, right? So in most of these kind of cases, awareness of the body is what you have to create. Why does your neck move and your eye move? Because brain is thinking only of the eye and it has forgotten what the neck is doing tandem in dance. Okay. What do we have? Once again, even for Natya Ramba, the answer comes down to building strength. But now in this case, in your arms, right? Your arms, your lateral muscles, all of the muscles that sort of help to hold it up. So practice sustaining through pain is the only way. All of us, when we learn, it's very, very extremely common. Each one of us will make this mistake, or one cannot call it mistake, but where your arm starts sliding down because this is the part that aches the most, right? This and this aches the most to hold the thing. But try to sustain it through that pain and hold it up. The more you do it, the more you will be able to increase your capacity. Okay. What else do we see? So Sandhya has asked something about, I think, the Khandam. Is that right, Sandhya? So the Taka Takita Adabu. The Taka Adabu is done only on one leg, or can it be done right and left and then proceed to the Takita? Sandhya, of course you can do that. The variations, like I said, there is no end to a creative variations that you can create. But you want to also look at what you treat it in the right way. For instance, when I did it as two legs, I did it as ta, ta, ta. I do ta, 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 ki, ta, 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 ki. Use a combination of string as well as the side. But of course, the possibilities are really endless, right, in terms of what you can do. And another question is from Navina: should we follow any diet while practicing Bharatanatyam? It's important for you to be aware of eating the right things at the right time. You do not have to change anything dramatically. You don't want to eat right before a practice. All of us know that we can't dance on a heavy stomach. But you need to have eaten, say, an hour, a couple of hours. Each of our bodies are different. We need to find that rhythm before the class. And at that point of time, before you dance, you want to consume a lot of carbs, right? Anything that will give you an energy boost, like a rice-based, that kind of a food that will allow your body to draw from in terms of fuel or energy. After you finish a class, it's also very important to look at recovery of the body. So to have protein-rich foods after you have finished a class. This could be, milk or dals or whatever, but make sure that the meals that are after a long rehearsal session or class have a good protein content in them. Nothing. I think our Indian meal system is perfect for dance. Nothing needs to be changed. But for the young kids out there, I will tell you, you cannot go to a dance class by eating half an idli, half a chapati, half a dosa. No, that's not going to work. Okay. So I say this to many of my students as well. I don't care if you like food, don't like food. It doesn't matter. But if you want to dance, you have to eat good food, healthy food. If you don't like your palak and your greens and all of that stuff, it's not going to work. So you should be just eating a regular balanced Indian diet. It's really good to sustain you in dance. And don't eat extremely tiny quantities, because imagine the kind of work. It's exactly like putting petrol in a car, right? If there is no petrol, the car will not move. You have to understand that very simple fact about your body, that you have to fuel it properly. You don't have to do anything special or exotic, but make sure that you're eating enough, eating at the right times, and that's about it. Okay? I hope that answers your question. Can you please show Mishra in Vilambitalaya, Madhyalaya, and Putalaya? Okay. Of course, we can do that. Maybe I can do that probably with the Tattametta Adabal. So the Laya change, okay, whether we're doing Vilambit, Madhya, or Dhul, which is like an equivalent to a first speed, second speed, third speed kind of a thing. It's the rules are the same. Nothing changes about how we are using the body, except for the body's skill or ability to do that movement is going to take a little more time to come in the faster speed. Okay, so let's see. I'll try to do the walk as well as the Tattametta. Okay. So if I do first speed on the right, ta, ti, ta, ti, ni, ta, ti, ta, ti, ta, ti, ta, ti, ni, ta, ti, ta. Okay. Now, an article like this, a movement like this, exact movement that I have done, we never take it to third speed because it will lose its beauty. If I do it loses the sense of the movement. So third speed might be taken, more worthwhile being taken in something like the Tattametta, for instance. Okay. So, if I do this is where I'm taking the same Madhya, done it in Dhrutakala of Mishram. But what happens is you can also then punctuate the Mishram in a different way, right? It can be just that's also possible when you go on to the fastest speed of Mishram. And I'm going to take one last question, which is from Suma. She says, how can we maintain balance during Bharatanatyam? Okay, simple tricks for maintaining balance. Balance is there in the eyes, okay, and the ears. That's two ways in which the body finds its balance, right? So the eyes is what we have under our control in terms of how we can use it, because of course, what you share is not in your control. But when you focus on a point in front of you, you automatically start getting a better sense of where your body is and to align yourself. So the very important thing is that if your eyes are wavering, right, or when you're doing a movement, your eyes have not returned to the center, the tendency to lose balance is much higher. So when you are turning, when you are jumping, when you are lifting a leg, focusing the eye to a certain point is very important. Okay? If it's a jump or a turn, focus in the direction that you're moving towards. Okay? So if I'm jumping forward, I want to concentrate on the front side. If I'm jumping to the side, I want to concentrate on that direction that I have moved to. Similarly, for a turn, for instance, if I want to do a full circle and come back, I want to come back to the center. Correct? So I take my vision and come back to the center. So if I look down, okay, or if I come back here and I'm not sure where I have to finish, I'm finding my center, the body will follow the eye, right? And it's going to be called spotting. Spotting with your eye. Nataraja pose, which is extremely common thing, right? That we all really strive to perfect and learn. So even over there, make sure that you're not looking down, not looking in any lopsided way, right? But when I take my hands itself for the Nataraja, let me focus on the center, okay? And never for the leg lifts, never look down. You already have balance. You see how I lifted it only 2 inches out from the ground, but then I already now feel stability. After which I lift it fully. During this entire time, my eye does not waver. Okay, very important. So that the entire understanding of where my leg is, whether I have found balance or not, is happening from my mind and not happening by looking at my leg. This is a very common mistake we make when we are lifting our leg, because we look at our leg immediately when we lift it. That is not going to help. Focusing at a specific point is very important. And the third thing about balance is for you to understand balance in lift. So we talked about the turns and the jumps. The other important thing about balance in lifting your leg is to understand the difference between weight on both legs of the body, weight on one leg, weight on the other leg. Okay, so we can do a simple exercise for this. Okay, for understanding balance is stand in Samapadam, and when you stand in Samapadam, make sure that your weight is evenly on both legs. Now, from here, you automatically notice if I have to lift one leg, I will have to shift ever so slightly to one side. This makes sense, right? Because I'm taking the weight which is in the center, which is in between both my legs, okay, over here, and don't let your hip go. Tighten all of these muscles over here. So you minimize that shift. See that? Minimize the amount of shifting that is happening. And stand. Just lift up one leg, go up first. Still now I still have contact. Release the contact slightly. Keep the left leg along the right leg and lift it up. Okay, as an exercise in itself. Try to hold here for 10 counts, 20 counts, 30 counts. What makes it even more difficult is when you do the lift of the leg and you close your eyes. Okay, because what we're now doing is, instead of having two things helping you, the eyes as well as the weight distribution in the body, the moment you close your eyes, you're losing one faculty, right? So it comes much more from the weight distribution, internal understanding of the weight distribution. So exercises of weight distribution, lifting up, standing for 20 counts, 30 counts, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever you like, and graduate to doing that with eyes closed. You find that it's remarkably difficult to do anything with your eyes closed, any lifts or any balancing things. So that immediately shows you the importance of this. Okay, I hope that was helpful and that answers your questions. We can take maybe a few more questions towards the end of the session, but I'd like to move on to at least do one core way. Okay, I'd really like to start that off so that way over the next 2 days we have time to build a little more. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a core way primarily with the counts of 3. Okay, with Tishra. Every adavu that we are going to do is going to be in the counts of 3. We are going to employ movements we have already used, which is the walk, the Nattimettu, okay, and the swastikam positions, which Anchita, Kunchita, everything that you have done. Nothing is going to be new, but I want you to observe and break down what it is that we are doing. Okay, let's start. So here's what we're going to start. We're going to start with Paramati, okay, and we start with the strike of the right. So, 1, walk, hip. Okay, the last movement that I need my feet for, it is hip. So this is an Anchita position. Both your heels up and stamp both the legs together. Let's do that one more time. So it's going to be 1, 2, we're going to turn to the diagonal, right diagonal, and do fundamental in threes. You remember how that worked? That was key, tap, tap, key, tap, tap, key, tap, tap, tap. Okay? And we'll repeat the same sequence on the left. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and left diagonal. Tap, key, tap, tap, key, tap, tap, key, tap, tap, key, tap. Okay? Is that clear? One more time, only the feet and everything in the tap, key, tap, 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 key, tap, tap, key, tap, tap, key. For the hand movement alone on both the sides, okay? It's going to start with a Gola Hasta on the left side, right side and Katakamaka in front of your body, okay? So we're going to do tap, key, tap, extend your hand in front and open into Alapa. Key, tap, close Katakamaka, tap, key, tap. And remember we did this yesterday. Tap, key, tap. Tap, tap, key, tap, tap, key, tap. Okay, shall we try that one more time? So that's going to be the hands for the side. Okay. 1, 2, 3, tap, tap, key, tap, tap, key, tap, tap, key, tap, tap, key, tap. Okay. And on the left side, we're going to change the hands. Remember the legs are exactly the same. Okay. But now I'm going to use on my left hand Vadaka Hasta, right hand a new Hasta, which we've not yet discussed, which is Kapita. Okay. And we're going to use it in front of our body like what and conduct a Bharatanatyam class or performance as the case. Okay. So we're going to use this and move the upper hasta like this to denote the keeping the beat. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do left side. Ta, ki, ta, 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 ta. Together, try it along with me. So as I'm doing it, and Bhargavi is doing it with us, let's all do it together. Okay, so don't get up and try to move and actually try out. Okay? 1, 2, 3, ta, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, 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 ta, 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 ta, ki. Dance it with you, okay? As we try to do this first part of the core weight together, okay? Let's try. Watching Bhargavi, okay? Let's see how much you're able to. Ta, ki, ta, 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 ta, ki, ta. Nice. Good. When you hold this hasta up, once again, make sure that we are in the region of the body, okay, where we can create clean geometrical lines, okay. So which different lengths of arms, different lengths of torsos, different width of our torsos. So you cannot fix exactly 2 inches from here. You have to have your hand. No, it cannot be. The reference is always with reference to our own body. Where is the center of your body? Right? When I keep my hand like this, where does my elbow come? Therefore, where does my hand have to be placed? Okay? So please do not mark positions based on I have to be at my chest, at my stomach, at my neck. No. But this shape that you're creating with your upper body is what you want to aim for. Okay? So we don't want to be down. See, the moment I keep my hand here, you see how the shape becomes into a diamond. I don't want that. Okay, I want this. So this is the position for me for my Ratvanga Tala. Okay, and let's also use a little bit of eye movements now. Right, both sides, hand, audience. Remember yesterday we spoke about this play, right? Looking at the audience, looking away. Let's try a little bit of that. Hand and audience, hand and audience. Over here, so what will change now? Because my hasta is here and not here, it doesn't make any sense for me to look there. Nothing going on over there. So I can look center. I can do an attami with this. Ta, ki, ta. So remember we did ta, ki, ta. I can employ that variety over here. So ta, ki, ta. And for the second ta, ki, ta, I look at my audience and I do ta, ki, ta, ta, ki. Okay. So shall we try this sequence one more time while paying attention to our eyes, our neck, as well as the formation of our upper body. Okay, one more time. Come. 1, 2, 3, start. Ta, ki, ta, 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 smile and do it. Nice. Good. And what remember through all of the pain of the Aramanti and through all of these things we have to remember and we have to execute. So never lose the smile. Are you learning or are we all learning dance because we want to dance on stage? No, we're learning because we want to dance every day, right? So even dancing in the class is because we like dancing. So the smile should never leave you. Okay? No matter whether you're doing that in mind going forward. And I'm going to add another sequence to this to finish this one. Okay, so that we have a completed four-way today. Let's introduce a small, tiny new movement. Yeah. I'm going to once again start with Gola Hasta, right hand in Karataka. Okay, from here I will do, let's see the leg first. Ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta. Okay, so we're going to use a movement to the right. But when I move away from the center, I'm going to use swastika. Ki, ta. When I come back to the center, I use some. Then I move to the left, I use swastika. Ki, ta. Center back again. Ki. Okay, this is going to be my footwork, and my hand movement is going to be from here, following the hand. Ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta. Okay, once again, I am following the movement of the hand up to where it's going, returning to the center and coming back to Tamil. Okay, let's try both of them together. 1, 2, 3, start. Ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, ki. We are going to add one more small idea, which is going to be ta, ki, ta, I'm just going to check the time. Oh yeah, we do have another 10 minutes or more. So we have time to revise this survey one more time. But let's do the second half of this survey first together once. And then I'm going to ask. Okay, let's try. So I'm going to ask Bhargavi to do it once again. This is for all of you to try and recall it from memory. So try to do it without watching the video once. Okay, by recalling from memory. So we're going to do the second half of the code. Okay, 1, 2, 3, start. Ta, ti, ta, 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 dip, dip, ti, dip, dip, ti, dip, dip. Nice. Good job. So are we ready now to put the whole survey together? So I know it's a lot to remember, lot to sequence, but rhythm is going in the same pace, right? So we have no confusion about rhythm here. Single rhythm to think back all these movements into a kind of a combination. Okay, so let's try from the beginning now, which will maybe we have time to do it twice over, all of us together. All right, let's start from the beginning. Smile nicely. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy your art. Ti, ta, ti, ta, ti, ta, ta, ti, ta, ti, ta, ti, ta, dip, dip, ti, dip, dip, ti, dip. Nice, very nice. How does that feel? How does it feel for all of you to go through a sequence of adverbs together, right? So now just for the challenge of it, don't worry if you're not able to do it. It really doesn't matter. But this is a workshop, right? We want to really challenge our bodies. We're going to try and do the whole thing slightly faster. Can we try that? So that doesn't matter. It's just some fun thing for us to challenge our bodies. Okay? And that's going to be the last thing we do today before we close. So really try to give it your best. 1, 2, 3, start. Nice. Lovely. Very, very good. Okay. I think that's a very good point for us to let's all remain in our places, because let's finish doing our namaskaram for the today and close the class. And then as we sit up, if there are any last questions, we can address. Okay, let's all remember and Thank you, everybody. I hope you've had fun and explored the possibilities of your body today. I think we have 5 more minutes, isn't that right? Alankrita, so if you have any questions, if you can share that with me. Maybe we can take that. So, okay, so there's a question from Savita asking about to the topic of hastas. Okay, So, Savita, apart from the most obvious recommendation, right, which is the Abhinaya Darpana of Nandikeshwara, which is the most common reference text that today as dancers we use. There is an English translation of this by Ananda Kumaraswamy called The Mirror of Gestures, which is the very, very common text that most dancers use. Now, this is the one thing that immediately comes to my mind as a possible reference, direct reference text to hastas in English. Okay, I am aware of another book by Professor Raghuraman, which writes about the hastas and the evolution of the hastas over many centuries, as seen through the texts which have been there in Tamil. So, just like the Natya Shastra and Abhinaya Darpana, which were texts written in Sanskritam, we have, of course, texts written all across India in regional languages as well. So the one text that I am aware of is a book which compiles the hastas that are there in all the Tamil traditions. But unfortunately, this is a book that is written in Tamil. And I don't think it has an English translation as yet. But I can give you the reference name of that book as well. The author's name is Professor Raghuraman. Okay. It's called Natana Kalaichol Kalanjiyam. This is the Tamil name of it. I cannot immediately recall any text that is directly devoted to hastas that is written in English or in other languages. So why don't I get back to you on that? I will let you know during tomorrow's session. I'll refer and I'll come back. So I see some of you asking me where I live. So I live in Chennai. Okay, that's a city that I live in and conduct classes. And it's very sweet of you. A lot of you are who are saying that you would like to join the dance class or take classes. Thank you very much. You're most welcome if you are living in the city of Chennai. Tushin asks a very sweet question. What hastas can be used to show clouds in different ways? So how about, Bhargavi, do you have any ideas? How can we show clouds? Yes, okay. That is pataka. Of course, one thing is that we use pataka to point to. But remember, last class we also said this is just for the sky. No? So how do we differentiate between sky and cloud? Okay, so we can once again use pataka itself, but this is one way of showing the cloud. Right? Just reflecting the shape itself of the cloud. Right? So you can extend, you can do it with a nice extended arm, but it's also about how you look at the cloud. Right? That is what creates the shape and the sense of it. It could also be used for instance. Right? We can do that. The wisp of clouds, the lighter clouds that pass the sky, pass by the sky. It can be done with one hand, right? Or it can be done with two hands as you watch the float by. There are a couple of ways in which we can show clouds. Machine, and I think mostly any other question. And what does Hastalakshana Deepika follow? Sandhya, to answer to your question, I'm followed by all the Kerala dance traditions, right, including Mohiniyattam, Kudiyattam, all the forms that come from Kerala. So they have a much more extended set of stylized hastas that they use, much more so than Bharatanatyam does. Okay, so and Hastalakshana Deepika is a text that kind of compiles and brings together all of my understanding. I don't know what you mean by what does that follow. Does that mean where does the Hastalakshana Deepika derive from? Like, does it come from the Natya Shastra? Is that your question? If so, I'm not 100% sure about this, but that's a text that I can definitely check up on and tell you, give you some information. Okay, so I'll definitely do that. And I think we're mostly done with questions and also with time, isn't it, Alpita? Are we done with time?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's almost time.
Yes. So I'm just going to say thank you very much once again. Have a very wonderful rest of the day with the lovely events and activities of SPIC MACAY Anubhav. And I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, Bhargavi.
Thank you.
All the students, please join us.